But nowadays, like I said, you know what? I'm good with it. I'm really happy with my life and tickled with the Mission Church and what they've done for me and Michelle. I didn't grow up in a church. I did not have a church background. I was driving down the main drag of Goreville one day, and I looked over and I saw this little thing standing on the street corner. A little brown-eyed girl caught my eye, and so what I ended up doing was introducing myself to her and getting to know her. Found out who she was, asked her out, and she told me, she goes, well, I'll have to ask my dad. So then I started putting two and two together. It's like, okay, who is her dad? Her dad was Don Kerley. I worked at the local lumberyard there in Goreville. Don was a carpenter, so I knew him because he'd come in every morning and he would have coffee and pick up materials for the job and go on. So frankly, I have to say I was a little scared, you know, finding out if he would let me go out with her or not. So he did. I started going to church. Michelle invited me and we started going. I continued to go. I would come in. Don was the first guy at the door when he came in on Sunday. He was a greeter. He'd shake your hand, look you in the eye, and call you by your name. I noticed he did that with everybody that walked in the door. Don did everything. He was the carpenter, he was the electrician, he was the plumber. If they needed Don for anything, they called Don. That morning I opened up, the preacher standing at the door. So he came in and got him a cup of coffee, and we sat there and talked for a little bit, and that was at 7:30, and by 8 o'clock I was saved. A month later, this was February of 1980, I was baptized at the church, and the first person to congratulate me and shake my hand was Don. 2 years later, he gave me his daughter's hand in marriage. So that began a 43 years of being with my best friend. In that period of time, it was in August of, I forget what year it was. I was just hurting. You know, I'd lost my dad to a terrible illness, and then I'd lost my pastor, and Michelle knew I needed to go somewhere. You know what? We weren't getting filled like we had been. Email or what, we get this picture of Pastor Michael, and all you can see is him standing, and you can see something behind him. It looks, what we end up finding out, it's a conservatory, but kind of a tagline, something big's coming type of thing. Me and Michelle like, wow, okay, we know this is where we need to be at. Before we'd ever even knew where it was at. We were excited for it, and both of us vowed, you know what, we're going to put both feet in. We went to that first day at the conservatory, and I was blown away. I mean, first of all, walking in, and the first person I saw was Carl. Now, you know, Carl's Carl. You see Carl everywhere you go. When you come to church, and it's a friendly face, and that was the first thing I saw, and I saw Marcia, and I saw Angie, you know, and then to be even more blown away when everybody was lined up outside. It was like, yeah, I could tell there was a lot of people hurting and a lot of people looking for the same thing we were looking for. A church, a home, a church family. A week or so later, we get a call from Pastor Michael. He wants us to head up a set up and tear down committee. We both looked, me and Michelle looked at each other, like, well, this is what we said we were going to do. It started giving me memories of my father-in-law when he was greeting at the door. That was what my father-in-law did, and it was a comfort to me. I felt the need to stand there at that stair, just welcome him and say hi. But Michelle made the statement, she goes, we need to make a pact that we learn a name a week. Memorize that person. She's good. She's like her dad. Her dad knew everybody that came in the church. We lost Don in, February of 2021. There towards the end, Don was laying there, and Michelle was holding his hand. He said, he was in a semi-conscious mode. He said something like home. And he said it a couple times, and Michelle goes, well, Dad, you're home. You're already home. And then he reached up to the sky, and he was no home. He was excited about going to see his Lord. I have a church family, and I'm very, very proud of it. 20 years ago, I was the guy that was in the back of the church and sitting back there and, like you said, warming the seats. A lot of it is the company you keep. I think that since we've, like I said, gone both feet in, with being in two life groups, couldn't be more welcoming and stuff. So yeah, it's just a walk, and sometimes it's a struggle, but other times it seems to be well worth the while.